So Douglas, let's talk about Jackson Hinkle. You've been talking
right
about
out the
him.
gate.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
no,
for me,
no
I just go
Okay.
straight.
All right.
I mean, how was your weekend?
Not bad, not bad. Just
Yeah.
I'm going to Vegas this week, so
Are you?
yeah, on Wednesday. I don't know if you've heard of EDC, Electronic Daisy Carnival.
Oh, okay. So you're going there.
Yeah.
You're interested in electronics?
EDM, yeah.
EDM. Yeah, you're a music guy. Come to think of it, you love Eminem. Eminem was your go-to music back in early 2000s.
In college.
Marshall
yeah.
Mathers LP, right?
Yeah, Marshall
I
Mathers.
remember that.
I said something like the Marshall Mathers LP is probably the most politically clairvoyant album in, I guess the 21st century.
I think that album is one of the best albums that I've listened to too. It was right after I got discharged from the military and came back to finish off my college. But that was a soundtrack.
Wait, so was Eminem pretty popular in Korea then?
No. Eminem, so I went to the military service in February of 97.
Okay.
I didn't know Eminem.
How long was so it was 2.5 years?
It's 2 years and 2 months
2 years,
that
2
I
months.
served.
Okay.
But we had like a 100-day vacation. After 100 days, they give you a 5-day off. And I turned on AFCAN. Do you know AFCAN? American Forces Korean Network. You know that there is a broadcasting
I didn't know that.
company for the military.
Who
American
runs
military
that?
soldiers.
America or Korea?
I think America runs it, yeah. So they would show these American music videos, the top 10. And I saw this.
Giving you propaganda.
I don't know. I got to listen to Eminem. Eminem was such a shock because he was
So out there.
He was really out there. He was
especially for the time, right?
Yeah, especially. I mean, for any time. I don't think there were any artists that talked about the content that Eminem talked about. He was like a pioneer, and he was attacking his relatives, family members, his mom. He was bashing his mom and calling her a B word, and also the W word, all sorts of words. And first, I was questioning myself: am I listening to it correctly, or did he just bash his mom? And I think in his Marshall Mathers LP, he even threatened to rape her, right?
Well, it's more like.
But anyway, I thought he was like a jokester.
So Marshall Mathers, what came after the Slim Shady LP? So the Slim Shady.
So I'm talking about the Slim Shady LP when My Name Is came out.
Yeah. So then the Marshall Mathers LP was almost like a response to the reaction to the Slim Shady LP. It's like, you think I was offensive then?
Now I'm going all the way.
Now I'm 100% offensive.
And he did. But My Name Is, I wasn't a huge fan of that song, but
I don't really like that song either.
Yeah, come to think of it, didn't Forgot About Drake come out earlier than...
I think it came out before the Slim Shady.
It did,
LP.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think that was when Dre was kind of mentoring him.
Yeah.
And then,
Exactly. So I was this was pre-military years.
Yeah.
I was on my sophomore year, and I watched MTV a lot.
Oh,
and
you had MTV in
I
Korea.
had MTV at home. I'm talking about when I was going to college here in the States.
Oh, okay,
so I watched...
Oh, so you went to college first, and then you did afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I watched Forgot About Dre, the music video with the newsstand, and you remember Dr. Dre's walking,
kind of.
And the newsstand, he was picking up this. No, there was this black dude picking up this magazine periodical, and Eminem was rapping there, and he looked so cool there. he really did. And I think
nowadays everybody want to talk like they got something to say, but nothing comes out when they move the lips, just a bunch of gibberish.
Everybody said, "Forgot About Dre." Yeah. So that was like a breath of fresh air, because I think Dr. Dre had such a gangsta aura about him, and nobody thought that he would bring in a white rapper.
Which is funny, because now like Dre is almost like the face of like corporate America.
He turned out to become that way. But this is between NWA and when he was doing the underground gangster rap and all that. And when Forgot About Dre came out, I was watching it with with my college roommate, and we were just blown away by how fast he rapped. I mean, now it doesn't sound that fast, but when it first came out, how you were impressed about it too, right? Exactly, yeah. Carl Kanai, right? And then fast forward a year later when he came out with My Name Is, I didn't know that Eminem was the same Eminem. I didn't know his name.
Yeah.
And
well, then you knew his name.
And then
maybe that's why he made that song. So
and then when I came back to the States, Marshall Mathers LP came out, and it broke all sorts of records. The first week it sold like 1.9 million copies or something.
I actually didn't listen to it when it came out.
Oh, you
I was in
didn't?
high school.
Oh, so you couldn't?
I no,
because of the parental
it's more,
discretionary advisory?
well, I never really like listened to that much music in high school. I mean, like I listened
You
to
were a
whatever
study boy, right?
I listened to like Winamp, like stuff like music from Winamp or stuff that my sister listened to. And I had a few Eminem songs, but I didn't have the whole album.
Oh, okay.
Like that kind of stuff was easier to get in college when you have like a super fast internet connection. You just download everything. Yeah. I went to college from 2002 to 2006.
That's when it came out, I think 2002, right?
No, 2000
One.
was
Oh, was it?
year
Did it come out?
2000.
2000.
Was the Marshall Mathers. So that was when I was a sophomore, I think sophomore/junior in high school. And I mean, it was still really popular. Everyone was talking, like in middle school, I remember everyone was talking about Eminem.
Everybody was talking about him. You're right. I bought the album. The first single was The Real Slim Shady. That was the first single. And the second single was Whatever You Say I Am, right? What was that? The fifth song? The fifth song? I Am, yeah, I Am.
I don't
no,
know
it's
if
not
that was
I
a
Am,
big
man.
single. I think you're talking about Stan.
Stan was the third single, or the fourth.
Oh, really?
It wasn't the second one, yeah. But I bought that album, but I loved Stan. So that album was great. I think we consider great albums because from the first song all the way to the last song, it kind of goes smoothly. You know what I'm saying. And that album did that to me. It's like Michael Jackson's Thriller. It's like you can consume the whole thing as an album, not just a couple of good songs here and there. And actually, The Real Slim Shady, I didn't like that one, but I loved Stan was a song where I felt, man, there's really something to hip hop. I wasn't a huge hip hop fan prior to that, but when I listened to Stan, I told myself, man, this is an awesome song with that bass and even the lyrics. The lyrics were so awesome. To pretend like a fan.
Kind of I mean, rap and hip hop came out of the 1970s, 1980s. Kind of like this. It was based in like the Black liberation struggle, just kind of like going back to, I guess, Negro hymnals back in the slave era and stuff like that. And so, it has this power of just like, it's basically just like poetry to
It is. And believe me, I went to MC Hammer's concert in Korea. MC Hammer.
Oh.
And that's when he got rid of the MC and just became Hammer, the Too Legit to Quit concert. And Vanilla Ice was popular in Korea. So those two rappers were popular in Korea, but it's not.
Michael Jackson was also pretty popular too.
Michael Jackson was very, very popular in Korea, I think, but during the bad era, I think George Michael was more popular in Korea. But I think in America, didn't Michael Jackson's popularity domestically, it was kind of shameful to listen to his music during the bad era. I know Thriller era, everybody listened to it, but not during the
bad era is fine. I think it was just like
the plastic surgery and all that.
Probably after the Dangerous album.
Oh, that's when everything went downhill? You mean
Dangerous album was probably his last like.
That was a great album though.
Big, like he's still on top, and then after all the allegations started coming up, which these days I'm not even sure if they're true or not. It's just.
Oh, do you doubt it? You think he's innocent?
Well, I don't know if you heard much about the Diddy stuff, but
I'm following pretty closely.
But one of the videos I watched about it was showing that like Diddy had his house right next to Michael Jackson's.
Really?
Yeah. Like so
that
the
I
entire
didn't know.
time, it's just kind of like maybe someone was feeding, because he's now known as the hip hop Epstein, right?
He's considered
so it's just
that
kind of
way.
like, what is he actually, is he telling the truth about Michael or is he feeding false information? Like, who knows?
So you're saying that P. Diddy concocted this whole thing and kind of drawn Michael Jackson
I don't know
as a
exactly
sexual
what happened, but then the other
pedophile?
thing, so that's just one, this is all circumstantial, right? I don't have any sort of proof or anything, whatever, but that's just one data point, right? And then like the other data point was that like, there was this quote he said about like just music producers and just kind of like white people or music producers taking advantage of him. And then like, I think there was like a doctored clip where he says these Jews are after me or something like that.
Are you talking about Michael Jackson, right? I saw that. I know
And
that
then
video clip you're talking about. Yeah.
After that clip, which I think was doctored or misrepresented in some way.
You mean
right?
that when he was bashing like Tommy Mottola, the Sony executive?
Someone like that.
Yeah.
Somebody like messed with the things and made it seem like he was anti-Semitic. And then after that moment, all these allegations about
started
him
started coming
So it's
out.
just kind of like, with everything we know in the past, 5 to 10 years about Epstein, about Israel, about, propaganda.
Epstein might be a Mossad agent. You consider him like a Mossad agent,
Epstein was
right?
definitely a
I think
Mossad
he
agent.
was.
Yeah,
I think he was
100%.
too. But like regarding Michael Jackson, this wasn't his first time around, though. I'm a fan of Michael Jackson's music. Who isn't? I think musically he's super talented.
Yeah.
Like you said, Thriller.
I think most people still are fans of Michael Jackson for the music, no matter what.
I heard a quote saying that everybody somewhere in their heart is a fan of Michael Jackson. So I believe that quote is pretty accurate, right?
Yeah.
And okay, Thriller, Bad, Dangerous, and History. Those albums were all great.
Yeah, I don't remember History.
History was
well.
great.
Yeah.
It has a lot of great songs there. I don't think musically, I think he was still going up, but I think popularity-wise, because of his surgeries and the sexual allegations.
I mean,
that he faced
his life was a little bit of a tragedy. If you really look at it from like, he was taken to like strip clubs when he was like 5, 6 years old. So I don't know. Some part of me, believes that now maybe Neverland was his way of trying to like protect children or whatever. I don't know. Who knows, right?
I think he became a very like a cautionary tale. It's somehow oddly, right? As popular as he was, it's very odd. But what I'm saying is, in '93 he had his first case with Jordan Chandler, and then this was his second go around. And I read a lot of legal documents.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah. What do you think happened? I'm curious.
So, Vanity Fair did like a piece about cold hard facts, and they said that Michael Jackson, one of the accusers' name was James Safechuck. He came out on the Pepsi commercial. I don't know whether during the bad era when Michael was throwing his hair and he catched it and he looked up and it was Michael Jackson there, and that's pretty much the story.
That was like '87.
It was '87 exactly, and
I was a little young back then.
yeah, James Safechuck did spend more than 30 days in the same bed with Michael Jackson. This is how cold hard fact. And even his mom kind of admitted to that. And even Wade Robson, the choreographer who did a lot of choreography for Britney Spears, I think he had an affair with actually Britney Spears. So that's why Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears broke up. But anyway, he was also on the Bad tour a lot and did, Michael Jackson would always bring these kids and these kids would imitate the Smooth Criminal music video. So he was one of those characters there. And he also, what he said was he loved Michael, but he said he started getting jealous whenever he would grow up, and then he would get younger kids. You know what I mean? So he aged out, so to speak, for supposedly if he's a pedophile. So he aged out, and he would feel jealous towards him. And after he had his own kids, he also testified, and I heard that one of the main reason why Michael Jackson got a not guilty verdict was because of his testimony. That was how powerful he was. I'm talking about Wade Robson.
So he spoke positively.
He spoke positively all the way up till he passed away, but this came out afterwards. And they asked him, I think it was during the Oprah Winfrey show, they asked him, hey, why are you coming up with this? After he passed away, and he said, now I can't keep this secret because I have my own kids, and I can't believe that somebody could do that to my kids. And that made him, and he was having all sorts of anxiety attacks, and that pretty much pressured him. So he had to go through all these
Wait, so then
therapy.
he talked negatively about
and then
Michael.
He said, I was sexually abused. Michael Jackson would sexually abuse me. And actually, one of the main reasons why I think there might be some credence to these accusers is during the Santa Barbara case, the first one, Jordan Chandler, the DA told him to draw Michael Jackson's genitalia.
Yeah.
So he did. And Michael Jackson has a what do you call it? Vitiligo, supposedly. So vitiligo means, skin turning white and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he drew Michael Jackson's genitalia almost 100% correct.
With the kind of like spots or whatever.
So how could he know how his, his genitalia looks like that way? And also the terms that Michael Jackson used. Like, for instance, he would, according to them, make them drunk. He would say this is like Jesus juice. The terms that he used, like milk juice, even those terms, Michael Jackson frequently uses those terms on other interviews. So just if I analyze all that and all what James Safechuck said and Wade Robson said and Jordan Chandler said and all that, and also the periodicals that try to be fair to both sides, I think there's a high possibility that he might be. You know,
I mean, I don't know. You've probably looked at this much more than me. I'm just
really
like
did.
From my perspective and seeing like kind of just like how.
Yeah, I wish he didn't. As a fan, I wish he didn't.
It's just like, you know, you're just seeing all these different things, like the Diddy thing, like the Epstein thing, but like the also. You know, with Kanye kind of coming out a little bit.
Yeah, Kanye's. I mean, now he's involved in pornography business, right? What is he doing? I mean, you liked Kanye West, right? You thought he was a little bit different, right?
I think he is very insightful, but sometimes chooses to say things in a very, you know, it could be on purpose. It could be just for shock value. It's like, oh, no one's paying attention to me unless I put something like crazy in there. So let me just put something crazy in there.
He became a provocateur.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, just to kind of like get a response, so I can open up this conversation. It's kind of funny because like I feel like, you know, last year or more like 2 years ago was when he came out with like, you know, I love Hitler and blah 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 whatever.
He did say that, yeah.
And you know, it's interesting because, you know, it was seen as almost like insane back then. But like last year, you know, with October 7th, not that like I agree with his points. Obviously, I'm very anti-Nazi. I'm very anti-Hitler. But like someone, I mean, like I guess like more people now would be like, oh, he's kind of got a little bit of a point here, because of the way the narrative's shifting in public opinion.
What interview was it when he said, I love Hitler? I know that it wasn't InfoWars, right? It was prior to that, right?
He said it on there too.
I know
but
he said,
I think he...
Like wearing all the crazy mask and stuff, right? When he came out on the InfoWars.
I think he... I'm not sure when he just started saying it, but like...
Didn't he mean... So what I kind of thought, what Kanye West was saying is, you know, when Jesus said we should love our enemies, right?
Yeah.
So I thought Kanye West was saying Hitler, even though he might be our enemy, that we should...
Yeah, I mean,
he was thinking
kind
that
of
way,
like,
right?
yeah, that's kind of the direction he was taking.
Yeah, that's what I was
like
thinking.
everyone is a human and everyone is redeemable. And then later on, I think more recently, he was more saying that like, look, you know, yes, the Holocaust happened, but like, you know, we need to get over it.
I saw one tweet last week. You know what it said? We have a whole bunch of Hollywood movies that cover about the Holocaust and Hitler, but how come there's no movies about Mussolini or other dictators?
Or Hirohito?
Or, you know, they were even comes, you know, I know to you a hero, but Mao or other, you know, a communist, you know, it was a Western guy.
Well, they do have movies about Stalin.
Yeah, but don't you agree? Overwhelmingly, majority of the Hollywood movies, and if you look at the Oscar nominations and the movies that get a lot of those accolades, so to speak, are about Holocaust.
That's
right. It is true, right?
Less about the Holocaust / Jews and more about America's foundational myth. I think for the longest time, the world was pretty much brutalized by the West. Until like, you know, World War II, when like places started to decolonialize. And I think America wanted to burnish its image as the savior of humanity and be like, see, we fought the Nazis. We're not the white supremacists. We're the savior from white supremacy.
Okay, so you're saying it from that angle, that America wanted to be... By the way, we have our co-host, Michael King,
I think maybe after 1967, you know, when, you know, after the 6-Day War, when our relationship with Israel was much more solidified, that's when the Holocaust part of it started to be more emphasized. Especially, you know, like Steven Spielberg, I think with Schindler's List in the 1990s. And movies like that started to come out after '67.
Oh, so you're saying America did it for their purpose, not for it wasn't a Jewish thing. It wasn't a Jew. You're not saying that it was a Jewish thing, Jewish dominating.
A lot of right wingers like to say that Israel is the one that's wagging the dog, but it's always been America the entire time.
Oh, okay.
Because before '67, America was actually not as friendly.
You emphasize that point, yeah.
Because like during the Suez Crisis, and
some Americans died too. By
not only
Israel.
that, but like in 1956, the Hungarian Revolution was happening, and then the USSR sent in tanks to kind of like destroy it or to shut it down. So that's why you get the derogatory tankies to call communists, because they're like, oh, you can only, enforce your will through power. But at the same time, the Suez Crisis was happening in Egypt, where England and France were like, we want, access to this canal, stop, nationalizing it. And Israel was joining in the fray because they wanted territory from Egypt. But then Eisenhower was like, you need to shut that shit down because we need to make the Soviets look bad right now. And you guys are like making us look bad.
So musically speaking, do you put Kanye over Eminem? Musically? Or do you think Eminem is still the tops on the hip hop?
I would say Kanye is a better producer.
Wow. Okay.
I think he's a better taste maker as well, in terms of like what he knows will be like, kind of like culturally defining. I think his music holds up a lot better than Eminem's.
Oh, do you think so? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I still listen to both, but I think like. Eminem's songs are not really songs you put on in the car.
Not proud of to listen to something like that.
Yeah, I mean, like,
is it a guilty? It's not a guilty pleasure. Are you saying that his music is guilty pleasure?
It's not a guilty. It's more like it's not like a partying type.
No,
of
it's
music.
Definitely not. More.
Whereas like Kanye kind of
like you will listen to it by yourself.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah.
Kanye makes like stuff that's thought-provoking, but you can also kind of like...
I understand what you're saying.
Party
and
to
actually,
it
I think Eminem agrees with you too, because Eminem said he was jealous of Kanye West. I think Eminem's... Eminem said that when...
I think they're very similar in the way they think it, though.
I think Kanye West kind of took over the hip-hop scene after Eminem, right? And I think Eminem was kind of... he was still popular, but not as popular as Kanye West. And, Eminem being the rapper that he is, he's like a street battle rap. That's where he grew up, 8 Mile. And he even considered doing a lot of diss tracks about Kanye. Because
how come he never released any?
Because he didn't want to be petty. That's what he said. Yeah, he was thinking about making diss tracks about Lil Wayne. And that's when Lil Wayne and Kanye West was taking over. Yeah. And you're right. I think Kanye West music is more... even though Eminem sold more albums, right? Even though Eminem sold more albums, I think Kanye West music is kind of, like you said, it's easier
it might be
listen to in public.
Close now. I think
Eminem is top dog sales wise.
Maybe his first 2 albums.
No, his albums did well all the way through. Eminem Show, Relapse. He didn't have a lot of bad. I think even Marshall Mathers LP2. Did you listen to that one?
I listened to a little bit of it. I wasn't as impressed.
I think Marshall Mathers LP2 for me was really good.
Okay.
That feeling that you got from LP1, it's kind of there. The song, the feeling is a little bit there.
Yeah.
Not as good as, but it's still pretty good.
I think like. With Eminem, though, I think he kind of backed himself into a corner because his whole brand is like, I'm white trailer trash.
Yeah, but he's not a trailer trash anymore.
But yeah, after rich, 2 or 3 albums, you're like super rich and you're like, I can't really rap about being trailer trash anymore.
So they lose their edge, right? Because once you get rich, even Michael Jackson, I think he lost his edge when he became rich.
Capitalism ruins art.
All. So that's when communism should kick in?
Exactly.
Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Okay. You should watch some Soviet films.
I want to start that book first. First, you bought this.
Oh yeah.
What was it? The Devil Chessboard. Alan Dulles. Is that
Alan Dulles?
Alan Dulles, who was a former director for CIA.
Yes.
And many have been accusing him that he was behind the JFK assassination.
Yes.
Is it true? Or is it controversial to say that?
It's hard to say if anything is true or not, but that's the direction this book pretty much takes. That he had the motive, he had the capabilities, he had the connections, he had his MO was doing that kind of stuff with like Patrice Lumumba and all the other people. It's just kind of like There's no smoking gun, but if you connect all the dots,
there's
like,
something to it.
The
right?
most likely person it would have been and like no one believes the Oswald was the lone shooter.
Nobody. I think that probably you have a consensus there. Most people don't. I think.
I think he was
just
shot.
by watching that movie alone, JFK movie by
I don't watch
made
it,
by
but
Oliver Stone.
he
I
talks
think
about that
you
movie
conclude
too.
that this cannot be a one man. And he wasn't even a good shooter. He's not a sharpshooter.
Yeah, so that's what
I
they're
heard.
talking about in the book. That like he's A, not a good shooter, and B, the gun that was found was pretty crappy. So even for a good shooter, it'd be really difficult to
easy.
Get those exact shots off.
Mm-hmm. Does it even talk about George H.W. Bush was also in Texas during that time, or it doesn't go there?
No, he doesn't talk about that. I think it's just because like this
it.
pretty much stops when Dulles dies. I think Dulles dies in the late 60s.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna read more about later on about James Jesus Angleton later.
Okay.
His kind of successor.
But you believe that in America, the deep state is alive and well at this point?
The deep state has always been alive and well. I think pretty much the deep state was pretty much created in the early 1900s. MI6, the Federal Reserve, institutions like this that kind of like solidify corporate power over state power over the people. And you can see like deep state operating in open, just like everyday life now. Like with the 2010, I think, ruling. I think it was Citizens United.
Citizens United versus
it
went to the U.S. Supreme Court and they.
And with
how did they decide that decision? Citizens United. It went all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, right?
It went to Supreme Court, and they ruled in favor for super PACs.
Mm-hmm. For the super PACs.
And and even before that, with 9/11, with the Patriot Act, and Homeland Security.
So you think 9/11 could be an inside job? That's what you're saying too, right? I think it's
very likely.
The Loose Change documentary. Did you watch that one?
I mean, a lot of people think it was Mossad as well. Or Mossad was
I think a lot of people have it.
Mossad was involved?
Yeah, because Benjamin Netanyahu...
was he still around during that time?
In 96. I mean, he was like prime minister for a long time. I think he had like 3 or 4 terms as prime minister there. But, he was on and off as prime minister. And back then in 96 or something, he said something like... No, I think recently he said, or 2000 something, he said something like, back in 96, I wrote a book saying, America should watch out for the World Trade Centers or they're going to get bombed because they don't know what Islamic terrorism is like. And it's just kind of like, wait, what? What do you mean you predicted this? And then I'm sure you've heard about the dancing Israelis.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I don't know if you saw this, but a couple days ago, Israel's
didn't a lot of
main
people
Twitter
dance?
account, their primary Twitter account says, "We will dance again."
Oh, really?
And this was right after Biden had refused to give Netanyahu weapons to go into Rafah. And so, Benjamin Netanyahu was criticizing America and blah, blah, blah. And then, the main state account says, "We will dance again." It's talking about the dancing Israelis probably, right? Like what else could it be talking about?
Well, the other option is it could be about the music festival, right?
Music festival.
Yeah, that's...
Hey, but now it seems like...
That's what they want you to think that they're talking about, but really, everyone knows,
So whose side do you think the mainstream media is on? New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, all
Israel.
These... I know. Are they the side of the
deep
state?
Yeah.
They are. So now it seems like they don't even hide it. The link that I shared with you too about the New York Times documentary about how deep state is cool. Come to think of it, deep state is awesome.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, mind-boggling to me that they would even steep that low to say that deep state is awesome.
I mean, this book pretty much says that the New York Times was in, journalists were in their pocket, like the CIA's pocket.
Yeah.
Time Magazine, I think even Washington Post, just all over. The people who think that the CIA is just about
international
spies
intelligence on
and
other
going
nations.
into different countries and killing people and then
like James Bond thing,
Bond stuff. That's not that's 1% of what the CIA does. The other 99% is just buying up journalists or media people.
Operation Mockingbird,
Jackson
right?
Pollock. I'm sure.
Is Jackson Pollock also compromised by CIA?
So a lot of art people say that
Modern art is a
modern
CIA
art
op,
is a CIA
right?
operation. Basically, what was
Because to
happening
make
at the
them
time-
look crazy, because I know that their drawings look crazy.
No.
But,
The theory-
but basically,
yeah.
like during the 1940s and 50s, during the Cold War, Soviet artists would promote kind of like mundane life, but like have this be, something that's celebrated, right? Like the everyday life of everyday citizens, and just like Soviet realism, right? And so, in order to counter this, there was this, like, I guess, this movement of this abstract art stuff, be like, oh, that's primitive. That's like back in the past. This is the new stuff. This is like the mind expanding stuff. And so, in order to do that, they would fund these modern artists and make it seem like the rich people were into this crazy stuff, and to to
make it more trendy,
pump money into that, like Jackson Pollock and stuff like that to yeah,
this
exactly.
book talks about it too. About
I don't think this book talks about that.
But that's.
I think it might have mentions it a little bit, but doesn't go into. I mean, like I've heard this not even just from communists or whatever. I've heard this from art students,
like even
before.
people like Andy Warhol,
Artists.
right?
Yeah. So that kind of like postmodern type of art.
Okay, I mean. Yeah, probably CIA must have been behind everything. That's how I see. That's how I see it.
People forget that like the CIA, they're not like these, James Bond type or whatever. They're like all Ivy League educated. They're very, high educated or like, come from high class.
Like Skull and Bones, right? Yale University.
I'm not sure about that. Maybe, possibly. I don't know too much about that, so I can't confirm that. But yes, Yale and Princeton and Harvard, they make up a lot of the CIA's like leadership ranks. And so they know exactly like, it's easier to control people not by force, but through their minds, right? Like it's easier to control people if you make them believe that they have their own choices and their own thoughts. So the way you control them is by controlling their thoughts, by controlling the media, controlling exactly what they see and what they read.
So go ahead, man.
Yeah, so here's Jackson Pollock art.
I know, Jackson Pollock. I never understood
What do
it.
you feel when you see this?
I don't feel anything. I think it's just craziness. I never respected Jackson Pollock. I know that Ed, what's his name?
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris played that role, and he might have gotten an Academy Award.
I think any of us
nomination
can
for that.
make something similar to this.
Yeah, I think so too.
Now,
so I never respected.
and then
these
look at the Soviet
drawings.
art. Now look at
It's
this.
awesome.
All the nations of the world, all the people of the world marching
That's
together.
Is that a China
That's a
flag?
Soviet, China,
and North Korea
DPRK.
flag.
Looks like, is that Iran? I don't know. But anyway, I've seen stuff like this.
So we see a lot of North Korean arts being that way, right?
Yeah, a lot of North Korean art is like this too.
Yeah,
So how do
art-wise,
you?
this is better. Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you compare that with
Art-wise.
this?
And this
or
is
other
just-
than like sculptures where you don't even know what it is. It just
And now, like even the artists I talk to, they say that fine art is mostly like it's basically a tax evasion scheme now.
Like bullshit arts.
Yeah, it's just a way for rich people to shelter their money so they can get away from paying taxes.
And these days, a lot of Koreans are getting into this art buying thing.
Yeah,
because some of my friends have been buying it, and I'm like, hey, you never had this hobby before, but they're buying it.
Yeah,
It
because
was
it's like
in
what
Queen of
do
Tears.
what do the Americans think is cool, right?
Whatever Americans think is cool, it blows over
Yeah,
down
it's almost
to
like they're
there's a
brainwashed.
trickle down effect to South Korea. No
are
doubt
South
about
Koreans brainwashed?
it. I wouldn't say that though. But I mean, some
Didn't
people.
you say that
no,
you
I think,
listen to
No, when you
radio
say when you generalize
when
it,
you were when you were in the
when
army?
you generalize
who
it, you
controlled
can't.
the radio you were listening to?
No. That's for American base. We never listened to AFK.
Oh,
But Koreans had access to
American
US
Forces,
Armed Forces Network, right?
American Forces, Korean Network, yeah. And that was one of my favorite channels because I get to watch a lot of Hollywood stuff back then.
Right. So then you were watching.
No, because
Hollywood,
I liked
you
it
were
because
watching
Korea was editing the heck out of a whole bunch of dramas. That's why, like songs too. There were a lot of songs that were banned in Korea, but
Wait, really?
they were,
when did
yeah.
they
Like
when did they
for instance, even George Michael
What
album was
year?
banned.
What year did they stop banning kind of like music?
Oh,
like that?
I don't know. Probably it might be still going on. I don't know, but it was going on even when I
Because
was
like you
a bunch
see
of high
like
school.
the influence now in K-pop, like they're doing the same exact kind of music.
I know.
Now. So stuff that would be censored back then.
I think
being
Korea was
made.
super conservative, I would say, and they would edit like a whole bunch of kissing scenes. Even kissing scenes would be cut
in
out.
music videos.
No, even like dramas. Like for instance, like even MacGyver, they would like edit out. If it's too pro-America, they would cut those out. Anything, that's against. I think they wanted pro-Korea.
What was so pro-Korea and
like
pro-America and
like,
MacGyver?
Okay, so like in class, I know I can't remember MacGyver episode, but like in class, if you go to like a grade school, the teachers check whether your pen is a brand of made in Korea or not. If it's made in USA, they take it away. They confiscate from you.
I mean, that
you
was,
know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that was still like
yeah. So it's like they were
Park Chung-hee's
emphasizing more on
protectionism.
love Korea and protectionism too, but they emphasized more like love Korea.
But that
stuff.
kind of like ended basically after the IMF.
But I would say like
crisis.
publicly they would say that, but privately, of course, a lot of Korean kids were following American trend. The music before Sateji came to the scene. I think a lot of people listened to pop songs. I listened to more Gayo, Korean songs. I didn't listen to a lot of pop
What are
songs.
Korean songs like?
Like Imunse, right? Or
What is that song? Is
Imunse,
that
or
that
like
da-na-na-na-na?
Chohamon. No. Some of their songs are cool, man. A lot of K-pop songs these days, they're doing a lot of remake. A lot of
What's
songs
it called?
are great.
Kayo.
Gayo, like 붉은 노을. Do you know 붉은 노을?
No.
That's such
What
a
kind
cool
of
song.
what's the genre?
Like
what's that
even-
in English?
I don't know. What do you
Kayo.
call that genre?
Genre?
Just
I mean, there's dance
original
music,
pop,
and there's ballad.
yeah.
There's ballad,
Is Kim Kon-mo in there?
Kim Gun-mo is there too, yeah, because he was prior to this K-pop scene.
Kayo, yeah.
But no, yeah, I don't like that song though.
What?
Yeah, that song sucks.
That
I
song
like his
snaps,
ballads.
yo.
I like his ballads. Kim Gun-mo's ballads.
Yeah, I don't
were
like-
연락도 없고. No.
Right. Yeah, right.
잘못된 만나.
Yeah, that's album number 3. He signed my...
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
You met him?
I met him when that came out.
You went to his concert?
There was a filming thing, and I met him through the filming thing.
In the music video.
No, he was in filming a movie,
What about?
He had a movie.
but it never came out.
That's funny.
He had like some black girl as his. She was
Girlfriend?
like his girlfriend or whatever. Like
Yeah, because
like
a lot of
Jet Li and Aaliyah. So it was like Kim Gun-mo, and then she was like black or half black.
And Kim Gun-mo is very black, his complexion. So
Is he?
yeah, people made fun of him.
What about
Rura?
Rura?
I met them
was
too,
great.
yeah.
Oh, did you meet them too?
Went
Kim
to
Jian?
Yeah, I met all 4 in this building, and then we all went to the Walk of Fame, Hollywood,
Oh, you
back in like '95. Yeah,
when they were the hottest.
yeah.
How did you
When
get into the
Nagate
scene?
and Chunsa came out.
How-
Yeah.
so that was when Kim Jian was really flying high. It was like
You
most
remember
popular.
Nula? Huh?
He knows.
What
yeah,
song is that?
Nagate and Chansa. He just sang
Ekaleka.
it.
Ekaleka.
He's good, man. So you can
It's kind
sing
of interesting that
So how did
before the internet like really blew up and all this, Doug out in New York in the suburbs.
In New York.
How did you? Concrete jungle where dreams are made of.
That's
propaganda.
2009. Jay-Z.
that was
Alicia
Jay-Z
Keys.
and Alicia Keys.
No, how did you listen to K-pop when you were out there, going to school with Mark Zuckerberg? Did Mark Zuckerberg listen to Kim
I
Gun-mo?
also went to a church that was Korean, and
Yeah.
there was this fob that came, or this
What's a fob?
fob fresh off the boat.
He came off a boat.
Came
His
over
brother,
here?
this brother and sister that came. I think when I was in 7th grade, 6th grade. Mm-hmm. And I guess I had a K-pop phase in my early
did.
high school
Oh, okay.
years.
Did your
listening to
sister
some-
also have that K-pop phase?
A little bit. She was into more. I guess,
Prior
the
to
Finkel.
you listening to Eminem, you were in K-pop, right?
I mean, I listened to a lot of shit. I
Eminem
listened
was
to
like
a lot of-
98 or 99.
It was
I think,
98,
right?
99.
Hey, so if you go to Korea, are you a fob?
fresh. I mean,
That would make
yeah, I
you.
guess so.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
So
just
how did you
wondering.
get
I wouldn't be
to-
really fresh though. I'd be like a stale off the boat,
Mm-hmm.
sob.
Stop. So how did you get to know Lula when top of their peak, during 95?
Oh, I was interning at a media company then.
Oh,
They were pretty much a
okay.
one-hit wonder, right?
No.
No, man.
They had, what's the other
They
one?
were pretty from the
maybe-
first
maybe
album,
from
the
the
second
American-
album, the third album. But that was the first album.
Yeah. And then 3, 4.
100째 만남.
la,
Didn't
la,
like
la,
didn't
la,
that girl have like a nervous breakdown or something?
You mean the pretty one?
Wait, the short
The
hair
sexy
one or the
or
long?
the not
Which one
pretty
is
one?
which one?
the sexy one meaning
they
Kim
both
Jian.
pretty?
Kim Jian, the Cat's Eye. She sung Cat's Eye. That was a disaster.
I don't know. One of them had a nervous
Oh,
breakdown from the fame or something.
I don't know, but she does real estate now.
You're talking about Kim Jian?
Yeah, she had a wine bar about 20 years ago.
Oh,
and
yeah, I
then
heard
most
about that.
recently now she does real estate with her husband. She's got like a YouTube channel.
In
or something.
Korea, huh?
In Korea, yeah.
Yeah, are there any popular artists in Korea that are over the age of 40?
Kim Gun-mo.
Yeah, 서태지.
Oh, that still make music today.
Kim Gun-mo, I don't know whether he still makes music. 서태지 doesn't make music for quite a long time now.
Yeah, I'm just saying, are there any artists that make music over the age of 40?
I think like 이문세, right? 이문세.
What happened to
and-
Cho Young-pil? Is he still around?
조용필 is still around.
Yeah.
I think he's about to retire though. And
But you would
Nahuna-
say it's pretty
I mean,
rare,
didn't
though, right?
Nahuna? What was
You'd
that?
say it's pretty rare, though, right? Like, there's no like, I don't know.
There's no like
Guns N' Roses or
because Guns N' Roses they're not releasing any albums.
no,
they
I know,
haven't
but
been,
they like went on to like their 40s and 50s, like right or not Guns N' Roses.
Okay,
Maybe that's a bad example.
Guns N'-
U2, for example, okay, and
서태지, are they still?
there's
no,
a bunch of bands that
서태지 ever since he turned solo, I don't.
세시봉, are they still?
Yeah, 세시봉 is the era where I didn't listen to that much. But like you said, U2 is a different
or
animal.
Bruce Springsteen,
Yeah,
or
I would
even
say-
Michael Jackson, right? Like,
Yeah.
like we were talking about earlier.
태진아.
Like
He was still performing until he died. Pretty
he
much.
did. You're right. Like Namjin and Nahuna were the
Namjin.
ones who played all the way. I think Nahuna actually recently retired. That's what I understand.
And even
so they're
like
in their 70s.
Kanye today,
mid-70s.
he's like 45, right?
Kanye
46?
is born in 1976, which makes him 48, I think.
Yeah. So
yeah, but Kanye is still he released an album a couple
yeah,
of weeks
that's
ago.
what I'm saying.
I
Like
mean,
in
like a month
Korea,
ago.
it's almost like even after 30, it's almost unheard of.
Right, here's the Lula
in
girl.
Korea you're talking about.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think when you're saying 30, I think you're talking about these young K-pop bands.
Yeah.
I think they are like that. Man, Kim Ji-yeon changed so much.
Look at her.
Yeah,
This is the
her
Lula
face
girl.
because she did this plastic surgery, right? She confessed.
And that's her husband.
So she was the most popular entertainer back in '95. Would you agree? I mean, among female.
Yeah,
entertainers.
guys went crazy.
Every guy
PPT
was
camo.
going crazy.
No,
She looks
Lee
sexy,
Hyori
man.
was
Lee Hyori came out
dominant.
later.
What do you
okay.
What do you think of her now?
I think I
think
miss her
she's-
back in the '95.
I mean, but she looks pleasant.
But
She
you can
looks
see that she did
plastic.
go through a lot of surgeries, right?
Especially when you like contrast it with the
I mean,
husband.
I don't want to say anything negative, but
It's just
kinda
she's
like-
with her husband
What's
there.
wrong
but-
with the husband?
No, it's not that there's
He's got,
anything
like,
wrong
Dragon
with
Ball
the
hair.
husband, but it's obvious that he didn't get any work done. So it's just kind of like side by side. It's
No,
just
I
kinda
think
like,
he got the Singapore. No,
Uh-huh.
I don't know,
How did
maybe.
you know that she was doing the real estate stuff? Man, you keep
don't
it up to
know.
date.
no, but apparently the most recent video is 2 years ago, so maybe she doesn't do real estate anymore. And even the name of their channel is
부부
부부동산.
동산, yeah.
부부동산 TV. Yeah.
And they
12,500
have
subscribers.
So, yeah, I remember back then. A lot of my friends they loved Kim Ji-yeon. She was like the one who was doing the
okay.
sexy
I don't
dance.
know.
But actually,
who
that
else
dance
were
was
you into
I
back
guess
then?
like for my like when I was in high school, or I guess middle school, high school, the big people were Boa, like Finkel, like I said,
Finkel,
Lee Hyori,
Ihori,
obviously H.O.T.
H.O.T,
G.O.D.
Candy, yeah.
I was
G.O.D.
listening to Candy earlier today. Yeah.
A lot of G.O.D song is actually written by Bang Si-hyuk, Hybe CEO.
Oh,
Yeah, a BTS CEO.
like
a
the
lot of-
Jajangmyeon mother song.
that one was made by Park Jin-young. That one was
Jin-young.
Park Jin-young wrote that one. But Bang Si-hyuk wrote a lot of songs,
And then,
G.O.D songs. The Friday night, the song. Yeah, that one was written by Bang Si-hyuk too. Yeah.
And then obviously kind of like Brown Eyes from
So Brown Eyes, I didn't listen to a lot.
벌써 1년, right?
yeah,
what was
just because of the
벌써
엽기적인
벌써
그녀,
1년, I didn't.
like
엽기적인
movie.
그녀?
Yeah, so that movie was
Oh yeah, it was
that
Chun
featured
Ji-yeon.
Brown
Yeah,
Eyes.
that was early 2000s.
That was in that movie.
yeah. But yes, people were Korean American guys were into that.
Yeah,
not really Ruda.
A lot of Korean guys, I think, guys born in like the late 70s, early 80s, were really into Korean American guys were into movies like 친구 or 비트. Like, do you remember?
True, the gangsters.
친구?
I've seen.
I call
I
it,
think
like-
I've seen the ending. I didn't see the whole way through. but
말죽거리 잔혹사. Did you watch that one?
I only saw the scene where he's like, "All right, stop stabbing me."
Oh, it's like, 장동건.
It's like,
친구,
all right,
that was 친구.
all right, I'm dead. I'm dead. Okay, you can stop now.
Yeah.
He was like saying, yeah, 가라, something like that. Yeah.
That was a time when a lot of they call it noir, right? Movie.
I was into Old Boy.
Yeah, Old Boy sucked. I didn't like it that much.
What?
didn't
What are you
like it.
talking
I think
about?
a lot of people got turned off by the the reveal and what it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what makes it
But
like.
the original comic book story is
Japanese.
different. It's Japanese, and I think is like Park Chan-wook. he likes to make stories a little bit sicker. That's what I think.
You know
so
who
I
else
think
makes?
he just wanted to make some more.
You know who else makes?
I mean, I saw it that way.
Sick
He
movies.
made the
Kim
HBO
Ki-duk.
show.
Kim Ki-duk
Remember
makes
Kim
great.
Ki-duk?
Yeah,
You
he's
know
a crazy
Kim Ki-duk,
dude,
that
too.
guy.
Yeah, he's a crazy.
He
dude.
made like beautiful films like Spring, Summer, Fall, Winter,
yes,
and
I
Spring.
watched that one.
You saw that
Yeah.
one.
Isn't the one that where the monk kind of?
Does he use Vivaldi?
The old man from Squid
Yeah.
Game. He's the monk, and it's about a little Buddhist temple floating on a lake, and that's like a beautiful film. But then he made really fucked up like 나쁜 남자.
Yeah.
It's about a guy
What year
who
is that? Like 2000s?
probably like 2003. So 나쁜 남자, this guy like gangster dude, sees this girl like kind of hits on her or whatever. She publicly just rejects him really badly, embarrasses him. So he frames her to end up stealing something. And then somehow you saw the movie?
No, I didn't.
He manages to get her to like borrow money from a loan shark and kind of forces her into prostitution. She doesn't know he's behind it, and then she finds out, and then at the end of the movie, she ends up falling in love with him, and he pimps her out. Like as they travel around Korea together, pimping her out to like fishermen out of the back of his truck. But she falls in love with him. Like anyway, that's a Kim Ki-duk movie.
Kim Ki-duk is a convict, right? Isn't he?
Well, didn't he
sexually
like
assault?
rape or
Yeah,
something? Yeah,
that's
and
what
then he died of COVID in like Belgium.
Did he die?
or-
I didn't even know that he died.
Yeah, he died.
And Kim
Dude, you got to
Ki-duk-
see his movies,
yeah,
man.
I
They're
mean-
crazy.
Wasn't there like
봄, 여름,
wasn't there a
가을,
Korean
and 봄,
director that was
that movie was
kidnapped
also kind of
by
odd.
Kim Jong Il?
I didn't know that he played that though. The Squid Game dude.
Wait, was he?
What was that?
Wasn't there a Korean director that
Oh Young-sung.
was kidnapped by
Oh,
Kim
no.
Jong Il,
Yes,
and he made
Yes.
movies for North Korea?
I think wasn't it Yoon Jong-il? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Whoever it was. Kim
The
Ki-duk
Korean
died
actress.
of COVID in Latvia. You know Latvia, which is between Estonia and Lithuania. Yeah.
So I had a former colleague who told me that she was sexually harassed by this dude.
By
so,
Kim Ki-duk?
Yeah. So because she used to work for him, and it seems like he was a sex addict. I don't know, man.
He had another
Since I
movie
don't know
called
him.
The Isle, where apparently, from what I understand, really disgusting things happened to a woman in there.
I
So
don't know.
he
I
does
don't
all
really
these
watch
like
these
really.
kinds of movies.
Yeah,
so.
back then, a lot of Korean movies actually in the 80s, there were a lot of boring ass,
Boring.
yeah, super boring movies. And
When
I
did they
think
start becoming interesting
I
to you?
think Two Cops. Did you watch Two Cops? That was with An Sung-gi and
Oh,
Park
Two
What year-
Cups.
what
yeah,
year was
Two
that?
Cops. That one was 92, I think 91 or 92. That was the first time when people were really generally enjoying it like they were enjoying
I
like
think
a Hollywood
honestly,
movie.
Yucky Jung Eunyo was my first.
I don't think that was that good.
No, it's my
Did you
favorite.
see Old Brothers
Oh Brothers?
with what's this, Lee Jung-jae and
I heard of it, but I didn't watch it.
dude, you gotta watch this. It's about two brothers. One of them has got like a deformity thing where he's like 10 years old, but he looks 35. And then he's got an older brother who looks his age, who's Lee Jung-jae, Squid Game 456. Anyway, it's just hilarious.
Did you
Is
watch
it Oh
the-
Brothers?
there was
Okay,
a-
that's the
Old
title.
Brothers.
Big one-
I heard that it's really funny.
When I was in high school,
I did hear
called
about that.
Shiri or something.
Shiri,
was
yeah.
big, man.
That's
Shiri.
by Park Chan-wook, isn't it?
No, that was Kang something.
Yeah,
Man.
but yeah, I really
Kang
Kang
kinda-
Jae-gyu.
Kang Jae-gyu.
I
Kang
stopped
Jae-gyu. So
listening
he was
to
considered.
K-pop and stuff by the time I went to college.
And then you went back to America.
Yeah, I went back to because I was in my emo phase. I was
Did
in
you?
my,
Did you? I mean, when Eminem came out, okay, I felt in Korea you can't make this kind of music, so that's
Yeah.
why it was so refreshing.
So did you watch? There's this webtoon called Lookism in Korea. They made it into like a TV show on Netflix. You could check it out. It's
Lookism.
On, yeah, it's basically anime but in Korean.
Is it good?
I'll let you decide, but
I know you watch everything you said.
there's
but-
a character in it who says his inspiration is Eminem,
Oh,
like
okay.
of like
Yeah,
making music.
because I think, especially the song "Stan," kind of, I think, that was the first time I felt like a hip hop song can be creative.
Yeah.
And
Because it's a very meta, self-aware type of song where it's just kind of like
exactly it is
speaking from the point of view of a fan.
Exactly, and that kind of even the melody to it was so great, and that was the first time I felt hip hop is really a great and that made me really listen to hip hop.
It's funny because like my
while.
favorite song on that album though is not
Kim?
It's not a single. It's called Criminal.
I like Criminal too.
Because it's pretty much a summary of the entire album, but like.
I like that one too. Remember Me, with Sticky Fingers.
I didn't
Sticky
like
Fingers.
that one as much.
You didn't like it?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but
I like Sticky's part actually more than the Eminem part. But that album entered But now in Korea they use the term "stan." Do you know that? When you say,
yeah, I mean,
like in Americans,
they use it in America too. I mean, they
that's where it started, right?
Yeah.
So now, do you know that Korea is even following that? 너는 누구 스탠이야? You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And that is annoying as heck.
Everything
That is annoying as heck.
American.
I admit it. But you know, TGIF in Korea is much better than TGIF here in LA. Did you know that?
Yeah, it has to be because like people, you need people to come back.
Because a lot of people in Korea, they think all the TGIF over here would be pretty good. Bennington's, Tony Ramas, or
Bennigan's.
But I remember I remember going in the early 2000s or 1990s and be like, why is Friday so popular here?
TGIF, people waited like 2 hours. I didn't even try. I didn't even think about going there because you have to wait.
Yeah,
I don't want to wait like a couple
Korean
hours.
Americans are like, oh, mushike.
Have you seen? Have you been to On the Border? Do you like that place, the Mexican chain On the Border?
I've never even heard of that.
It's really good in
It's
Korea.
It's in Korea. Mexican chain.
Outback Steakhouse.
Probably go to
Well, it's like American Mexican.
I'll probably go to a Shake Shack in Korea if I go there just to test it out.
You like Shake Shack or In-N-Out?
Well,
obviously,
I just learned that Shake Shack does support Israel, so
it
was a sad day.
Wouldn't In-N-Out do the same?
I don't think so.
I don't think In-N-Out
Because they put Bible verses on there.
No, I mean like they had like Shake Shack has literal locations in Israel.
Yeah, and just because they put Bible verse, like Candace Owens proclaims to be a Christian, but I don't think she's that pro-Israel, right?
Yeah, but most Christians tend to support Israel.
No, I think
they shouldn't if they actually read the Bible.
I think at this point, people are saying, let's stop this. Let's stop the killing.
Who, Israel saying that?
I think a lot of...
Netanyahu?
No, I'm talking about the people
You're talking about Americans.
I think a
Israelis?
lot of most people.
Israeli citizens?
No, Ben Shapiro said, you know what Ben Shapiro said? So he's doing all this debate with these college kids again in Europe. I think he's in Oxford University, and one of the students were saying... They were more they were pretty much all pro Hamas, and they were saying,
pro Hamas.
And Shapiro was saying, hey, they attacked us first, October 7th. So we got to finish it. They're hiding behind babies. That's what Ben Shapiro said. So we're going to have to root out the terrorists. So they're just being, like he was saying that they were collateral damage to get rid of Hamas. That was what Ben Shapiro was saying. So I don't know. But it seems like Ben Shapiro is a spokesperson for Israel, pretty much. That's how
it's basically like if the Nazis were like, we need to just destroy Russia, and these Jews are just collateral damage. It's like the same fucking shit.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think this war is gonna kind of go long, right? I don't think it's ending.
As long as Palestinians exist, and as long as Israel continues to occupy and take more and more territory. Unless they destroy them all, I don't think how are they going to end it.
So do they still have like 100+ hostages, according to like some of the studies? And they have 5 hostages of Americans. I see a lot of from the media.
I don't even care about that because like Israel literally killed American aid workers in Gaza in the past few months. And it's just kind of like,
and why aren't Americans talking about that? You talk about,
and they obviously Rachel Corrie. I don't know if you knew about that incident.
The young lady who was run over by a tractor, right,
in Israel.
Yeah,
just like
even in Korea,
they ran her over. They ran over an American blonde. She was blonde.
She was 19 in the 1980s.
So that makes me
1980s. I thought it was like 2001.
Oh really? I thought it was a long time ago.
No,
anyway, we were supposed to talk about Jackson Hinkle, but somehow we got.
Oh, is that why Jackson Hinkle was?
Maybe
we got sidetracked to Eminem.
She died in 2003. By the way, Rachel Corrie.
Oh, 2003. Yeah.
And she was born in 1979. She was killed in Rafah. Anyway, can you imagine if Hamas ran over an American girl with a
bulldozer?
Yeah.
No, so that's what I think. I think Israel, AIPAC, pretty much have all the U.S. politicians in their pocket.
What's your view on Israel? Do you support Israel's?
I think biblically, as a Christian, I think Israel. No country can probably. I mean, it's actually prophesied that all countries would hate Israel in the Bible. It's gonna come, towards the end of times.
Hate them? Why though?
It doesn't go into detail about that, in the Bible, if you read Revelations. But I think
in the Jewish faith.
But I do think when 1948, I'll just say this much: when 1948, I think without the bankers behind the Rothschilds, I think this Israel wouldn't have come. And it seems like I share the link with you.
Not only the bankers, but
I share the link with you. Even Even America, right off the get-go, they were pretty much controlled. A lot of their banking system were controlled by the Rothschilds. So I think somehow I think there's a lot of
not just the Rothschild, the English, the British banking system.
Yeah, but if you look at, why don't you check out the link? It shows how Rothschilds took over the federal bank in America too. And I don't know. I think it has a lot to do with money, and I don't think. I think Israel is. Sometimes I wonder whether Israel controls America. You know.
I don't think so. I think that's just a red herring.
I mean, sometimes, you know, not in every single issues, but when I see a lot, because a lot of American politicians, they just immediately take.
I think it's more that American imperialism is rooted in Israel and North Korea to an extent, but really in Israel in such blatant fashion. To me, it's basically 19th century Western imperialism in the 21st century. And the reason they've been able to get away for it so long was to use the Holocaust as a stand-in for justification for, crimes against other, like, think about it, like the Arab people, they had nothing to do with the Holocaust, right? They, sure, there were tensions between Jews and Muslim people back then. And yes, that one Muslim leader met with Adolf Hitler in like 1941, whatever. But for the vast majority of Muslims, they had nothing to do with the Holocaust. And so for them to kind of say, we deserve this land because of the Holocaust, that's kind of like a weird logic that we kind of, as a Western society, because of all of this focus on World War II.
Who came up with that idea?
Yeah, but the Holocaust happened decades after the Balfour Declaration, right?
Yeah. So who came up with that idea? We have to go back.
Let me
to
guess.
the Middle
R.
East. I mean, I don't think it's just
What's
them.
R?
Roths.
Oh,
I don't think it's just them though. But I think there's a family that engineered it though. I think there's a family that engineered.
I guess you just have to look into what the roots of Zionism.
I mean, if you go to Balfour, the Declaration, who sent that declaration to? Who was the recipient of that letter? Wasn't it one of the R family? It was written there, right? So I think.
yes, the Rothschild dealt
so
with Lord
it
Balfour.
was them. So what I think is, a lot of investigative journalists has been saying that in the world there are these powerful family who's behind the scene. Really, these are people behind the scene that you don't even want to talk about. Some people. I think they're the ones.
And the Rockefellers as well.
Yeah.
Right, and they're not Jewish, so it's just kind of like. Yeah. It's not all these Jewish bankers.
So when I look at this AIPAC, they say AIPAC is the most powerful lobby group in America, and AIPAC is America is Israel. So when I meet a lot of politicians, do you know they would meet ordinary people, but you know what their condition is? Have they ever raised funds for me? They wouldn't even meet ordinary people, They would meet people if they were, doing fundraising.
You said that this changed recently to you?
No. What I'm saying is, like, if you give them money, they would do anything. They're like, a lot of politicians are like, I don't want to say it, but like prostitutes. I mean, the money.
It's deep state, like it's like I've been saying. Like they're all controlled by money.
Yeah, just call them prostitutes. Call them whores. Call them whores.
Exactly. I mean, this is what Lenin was talking about, like over 100 years ago. Basically, like how liberal democracy is not really democracy, because like if you could just buy up votes or politicians or bribes, the people don't control the government.
That's pretty obvious, right? That's pretty obvious to you, right? That people can buy votes. If you have money, you can buy votes, right?
Yeah.
So it's so clearly obvious and in your face that it's not really democracy.
It's always been a plutocracy.
They should have killed that Citizens United case. I think U.S. Supreme Court made a wrong
if it wasn't for that,
one.
would it be a democracy? What do you think for Citizens United?
It would have been. It would have been.
I mean,
better.
it would have been more of, I guess, closer to a democracy, but still not. There's still other ways they can influence, and they have been influencing. Like you said, the media is a very powerful thing. Who owns this media? These 6 corporate conglomerates who have control of all the mainstream media stuff.
It used to only be like 12, and then now it's like 6. I guess.
It's 6.
Yeah,
and
it's just kind of like
if you watch cable channels, I know most people don't anymore. But if you still do, man, the commercials, it's pretty much all big pharma. It's one medication after another.
And that the United States is the only developed country that allows direct to consumer advertising for pharmaceuticals.
True. You're right. I think not in Korea.
Yeah.
In Korea, you can.
So what do you think? Do you think most Americans are aware that this isn't really a democracy, or do you think most Americans still go along with like, oh, we live in the greatest country in the world and this is a democracy?
I think most Americans just aren't politically involved. You can kind of like see that with our even voting numbers. Our voting numbers historically have been like, even for the president, like around 50 to 55%, right? It's not, the whole country doesn't even participate in the general elections. And so already you have like half the populations who's not even engaged enough. I used to be like that myself. I was like, it's very clear to me as an Asian American or Korean American, the federal government or the state government or any government in America doesn't really care about my interests. Yeah. So I'm not going to waste my time and vote for something that's not going to, change my life one bit. And I think a lot of Americans are in this bucket. And I think so a lot of people just aren't really aware of what's going on and how the country is run. But yes, like once their own material conditions are threatened, like they are today.
I think we're at that point, right?
Yeah, especially with the Biden like inflation and like now you're seeing, prices for groceries have gone up 20, 30, 40%, and we're giving money away to fucking, kill
Ukraine
people
and
kill children. In like, what the hell is that? So I think this is the thing that's angering most Americans. Like, why is my tax money being used to kill other people? What has Israel really even done for the United States? What benefit do we get? Like, if they're our greatest ally, why have they antagonized us so many times, even when we're trying to help them? Why did the USS Liberty happen? Why have all these other things happened where like Israel is like bad mouthing the United States? And we're just sending them. I think we sent Israel the most amount of aid out of any other country.
Yeah, I think so.
$300-something billion.
And America gives Egypt every year too. But I think.
Well, how much do they give Egypt compared to Israel? Because I think Israel gets at least $3 billion.
Yeah. And that money to Egypt is more hush money.
It's hush money, exactly.
To be okay with Israel.
Please be okay with Israel, exactly.
Do you think Israel's an ally of the United States? Do you think Israel's a friend of the American people?
I'll answer that question first.
Have
you ever been affiliated with the CCP? I'm Tom Cotton. What else?
No, about the TikTok thing, right? You're talking about, I think a lot of people don't think America is great anymore. I think many people think that it was a facade, and like even the ones on the deep state side, for instance, like ABC, like Jimmy Kimmel. Comedian.
Let's wrap it up.
He's more on the the deep state side. He recently went on a trip to Japan and said, "Oh, I didn't know that Japan is so clean. It's much better than." So
who said Japan is clean?
Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, he recently went to Japan and he said he didn't know America's like trash. Look at Los Angeles. So I think more and more people So he didn't even know how Japan or other these Asian countries.
That's exactly
were.
what like Tucker said when he went to Russia and he got criticized.
Exactly.
For it.
Yeah.
He's like, wait, I could buy $200, $300 worth of groceries for $40?
And he was eating this McDonald's. It wasn't McDonald's, but a burger combo. And he said he bought it at a much cheaper price.
Russian McDonald's.
And it's really good. And he said it's really tasty, but much cheaper.
Didn't they like put the M like to the side or something?
Yeah, they did. And what he was saying is, I think he was criticizing America's inflation. You don't have to,
ever since the,
expensive.
I think it was some sort of stat where ever since the Federal Reserve was created, the U.S. dollar lost 93% of its value.
So a lot of people...
And before that, it was pretty stable before that, the dollar.
Great. Okay. So, hey, sorry I was late today. I had an emergency. I had, a medical emergency, so...
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool? You all right now?
Everything cool now?
No, it was for somebody else. Oh, okay. Somebody else had a medical emergency, so... Anyway... Thanks for coming in, Doug. We'll see you really soon. Your shirt is really cute, by the way. I like your shirt.
And he was about to cover it up. When I said, man,
it's so hot in here. I had to take off my sweater. But this is a friend who, this is his brand thing. Or this is his catchphrase. He goes like, cute.
Okay. Oh, it's cute. Okay.
Cute.
I thought it was just cute.
So that's him saying.
Oh, got it. Okay.
That's the brand.
It's discontinued. So there's a... It's a rare collector's item now.
What year is that from?
What year is this from? I got this like maybe 2019, 2019.
It's 5 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
I've had this shirt for 5 years also.
But yes, I wear it to raves. It definitely gets comments. So
You wear that to raves?
Yeah, I'll probably take it to EBC
Look, I mean,
this
when
weekend.
girls say they see a handsome guy or something, they don't say they're handsome. They say they're cute, right? That isn't that the term that girls use?
I mean, I think handsome is just like
Just
almost
too-
like an anachronism today. Like it sounds like you're old.
yeah, like
oh,
good
you're so
looking.
handsome.
You're right. Cute is a word term.
No, when girls say you're cute, doesn't necessarily mean they're interested, right? They gotta, right?
I don't know.
In my experience, if they call you cute, maybe they just see you as like a cute guy, but not like you. They could friend zone
Like a
you.
puppy.
Maybe, yeah. But if a guy is hot, then
Oh, really? Because when I watch,
I mean, they
oh,
also
okay,
like
okay.
cute guys, but not every guy they call cute they're interested in. But if
Is
they
it?
call a guy
Okay.
hot, yeah.
Okay.
And if they call a guy handsome, I don't know what that means. Yeah.
Okay, so you should have HOT then instead of.
Do you wear do you wear like? Do you do the glow sticks and all that at the raves?
I don't bring anything myself, but sometimes people give me shit when I'm there.
Like the beads,
You know, like the beads or a glow stick or like bunny, like whatever they give me. I'm just
pacifier,
like, no, I don't fucking
whistle.
do
Pacifier?
Because you're grinding your teeth when you do ecstasy,
that.
right?
I just use gum,
Oh, use gum.
chew gum.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess apparently some people grind their teeth, and I guess the pacifier helps. Do you wear the mask, and you put Vicks Vapor Rub on the inside of the mask?
No, other people bring that shit.
Apparently, it heightens your
Does
high
it?
when you do ecstasy.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
Apparently, huh?
Yeah,
You've never done it yourself, huh? Apparently. Seem to know a lot, apparently.
I haven't really been raving in like 25 years or whatever. So
This should be clipped.
huh?
So clipped.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll come back and talk more
Yeah,
about
okay, let's do
raves
that.
with Doug. Yeah, let's. Can we do something more soft?
More softer. Okay.
Yeah, let's talk more like Korean American
stuff.
experience,
Okay.
not
We're
politics.
talking about K-pop for...
Yeah.
Yeah,
we-
but
we
let's
did.
do more into like that and the food and the dating and the churches and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll take a quick break. Doug's. I don't know what this lightning bolt thing is. It suddenly appeared out of nowhere.
I didn't see
It's just really distracting when the foreshot of us with the robot. Like it just looks like what's up with my head.
Something
It
It looks like you're Bart Simpson.
yeah, or it's like I'm wearing a
Bart Simpson with a black
tilted crown or
dyed
something.
hair.
I mean, it doesn't. Does it even light up? Like what is? Anyway,
That's a mirror, right?
no.
That's the Ukrainian SS.
Oh, Ukraine.
Was that the Azov battalion or whatever? Anyway,
All right.
all right. So we'll see you guys real soon. Bye bye.
Bye.